We are very happy to have Sushree Gopeshwari Devi Ji here this evening, giving us a pravachan. And let me just give a very brief intro of her. Didi Ji spent most of his later days in India and learned all the philosophy of our Hindu scriptures under the direct guidance of Jagadguru Shri Kripaluji Maharaj. She holds a master's degree in English and a law degree from Rajasthan University in India. And Didi Ji preaches throughout the world, from east to west and north to south. It's very hard to name all the countries she goes to. So I respect and expect all of you to kindly listen to her discourse very attentively and kindly switch off your phone or put them in vibration mode. Now, as a token of our respect for Didi Ji, I request Sudevi to offer her a garland.
Bole Ladli Lal Ki. My most humble pranams to each one of you, dear devotees. Devotees, let us all fold our hands in the prayer mode. Take a good look at the divine form of the Lord placed on the altar. Capture the form of God and Guru in your hearts and minds. Close your eyes. Feel the divine presence of the Lord, remembering the divine form of Godhead personality. Doing Roop Dhyan, let us all pay our most humble obeisance while I shall recite the verses, and then we shall proceed further with the program this evening. Manatha Shri Jagannatho Madguru Shri Jagadguru Madatma Sarva Bhutatma Kripalu Gurave Namah. Guru Raradhanadishcha Guru Paramadaivatam Guru Parataram Nasti Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Varhapidam Natvarvapu Karnayo Karnikaram Vibhradva Sah Kanakakapisham Vaijayantim Chamalam Randhran Venoradhara Sudhaya Purayan Gopavrindair Vrindaranyam Swapadaramanam Pravishad Geeta Kirti Yo Brahmanam Vidadhati Puravam Yo Vai Vedanscha Prahinoti Tasmai Tagvam Hadeva Matma Buddhi Prakasham Mumukshara Vai Sharanamaham Prapadye. Anand Kanda Satchidanand Shri Krishna Chandra Charanaravind Makaranda Milinda Mahanubhav, the blessed souls, eternal and divine. Dear devotees, this time round, with the inspiration of Sri Maharaj, my Gurudev, I am going to talk on LEELA MADHURI, just as it is in Premras Madhira Pads. However, this will be from Radha Govind GEET. Radha Govind GEET comprises of 11,111 DOHAS, couplets. And it is full of divine, nectarine philosophies and leelas. We are going to dive into LEELA MADHURI, which means that we are already eligible candidates. Well, we'll find out. Let's first sing some couplets and then see whether what we are eligible for and what we are not. Radhe Radhe Govind Govind Radhe 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 Govind Govind Radhe Shakti Govind Radhe Leela Shakti Kripa Shakti Pramukh Bata De Agni Ko Jana Nahi Govind Radhe Kintu Sparsha Ho To Agni Jala De Jalane Te Aapu Hi Govind Radhe Agni ka Gyan Kara De Aise hi Hari Leela Govind Radhe Bar bar sune Hari Bodh Kara De Tarji ke Kutark Yadi Govind Radhe Leela Katha Sune Shraddha Upja De Bhole Bani Leela Katha Govind Radhe Ras piyo aur kachhu socho na bata de Ras piyo aur kachhu socho na bata de Ras piyo aur kachhu socho na bata de O Radhe Radhe Govind Govind Radhe 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 Govind Govind Radhe Godhead personality, the Supreme Lord Himself, as He is Ananta, so is His Katha Ananta. Hari Ananta, Hari Katha Ananta. Infinite is everything related to the Supreme Almighty Godhead personality. Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality, the Supreme Almighty Godhead personality, has infinite powers. And out of infinite powers, the most important, the main powers are the two powers. One is known as Kripa Shakti and the other is known as Leela Shakti. Kripa Shakti, the power to grace, His power of grace, and Leela Shakti, His power of enacting divine pastimes, the divine Leelas. These two are the main powers out of infinite powers of Godhead personality. Just as when we have no knowledge about fire, sometimes with little kids, We say, don't go near fire. That's fire. The child does not know what fire is. And when we didn't know about fire, when we had no knowledge about fire, and when we went close to fire, near fire, and when we touched fire, then the fire entity itself, when we touched fire and got burnt, then the fire entity itself gave us the knowledge about itself, about fire. Likewise, when we again and again and again listen to the divine, nectarine pastimes and narrations of the Supreme Almighty Godhead Personality of Sri Krishna, then Sri Krishna's grace alone, the Lord's grace alone, is going to make us have some notion, just notion. He's beyond our comprehension. Even Brahma, Vishnu, Shankar cannot know him. But with his grace, we will get some notion, some knowledge about this Supreme Godhead Personality. So when we listen to the divine narrations, the divine pastimes about the Supreme Divine Godhead Personality, then the grace of God gives us this little understanding, little notion about God. How are we to listen? We are to become humbly innocent, like a very little child, without any tark, kutark, bitark, without any sophistry, without any ifs and buts. When we listen to the divine narrations of the divine pastimes of the Lord, then faith will be sprouted. It will be sprouted. Why the faith is not sprouted? The answer is here. We apply our intellects. We try to understand the divine pastimes and narrations of the Lord with the power of our intellect. And God's narrations, his divine pastimes, can never, never, ever be understood by our mere intellects, by the power and effort of our intellects. We can never know. We need the grace of God. Only the grace of God to have some notion. Thus, become humbly innocent and drink the divine nectarine narrations and pastimes of the Lord, seeking for God's grace, crying your heart out and seeking for his grace. Because his grace alone will make us have some idea, some knowledge, some notion about God's narrations and pastimes. So, as you have just sung, that without any dispute, without any sophistry when we listen to the narrations, the divine narrations of the Lord, then faith gets sprouted in the heart. And that is why you've just sung the lines that bhole bani, become humbly innocent. Drink the divine nectarine, narrations and pastimes of the Lord. We have to become humble and innocent like a child. No application of the intellect. Now, God's descension on this earth gives us the divine Lord's pastimes, the actions that he performs. Divya Krishna और कर्म दिव्य गोविंद राधे, याते सब कर्म लीला बता दे. Shri Krishna is divine and his actions are all divine. That is why every action of Shri Krishna is known to be not action but leela. So you and I cannot do leela. Don't start saying that we do leelas, huh? Only Godhead personality and the God realized saints whom you don't know who they are. So don't try to apply your intellect there. Just restrict yourself to the Supreme Almighty Godhead personality and your and our divine Guru, who for sure we know is a divine personality, is a God-realized saint. All those devotees who have taken shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Maharaj Ji have accepted this. Now we have to 100% have the faith in the divinity of God and Guru, and not applying our minds and intellects, seeking for the grace, cry our hearts out and listen and chant the divine narrations, the divine pastimes, etc. There are three kinds of leelas, or three types of leelas, I should say. There are three types of leelas. One is Lok Shiksha Leela. Lok means world. Shiksha means lessons, teachings. These are lessons and teachings for the entire world to benefit for the welfare of humankind. These leelas have taken place. And then there is the second type of leela, which is known as Antarang Leela. Antarang Leela would be personal leela. Personal leela. Who can know his personal self? Only he can know his personal self. So personal leelas are associated with him only. No one can know about it. And the third one is known as impossible leela. Impossible leela. It is still his karma. Every action of God is known as leela. So there are actions which are impossible to even think about. It is Lok Shiksha Leela, the lessons, the teachings for the welfare of mankind, for us, that we are eligible to adapt. So what we are eligible to adapt? Only the Lok Shiksha Leela. That's all we are eligible to adapt. And the rest of the two, the personal leela and the impossible leela, Antarang leela and Asambhav leela, know it to be purely divine. And never ever try to adapt it. It's not for you and I. Know it to be purely divine, but do manan on it. What is manan? Meditate, reflect, drink those divine nectarine pastimes and narrations of the Lord and enjoy it, so that we could also have our sentiments, our feelings, our relations built strong, exclusively strong, and intimate, just like those divine lovers, those divine saints, for whom this Antarang Leela and Asambhav Leela took place, or with whom the personal Leela and the impossible Leela took place. To drink the nectar of these divine pastimes of the Lord, to meditate upon the divinity of Godhead personality, to also reflect and think and meditate on God's divine love bliss, and to cry your hearts out, to get evolved spiritually to that degree that we may start to also love God rather than worship God. And not love God, but love God the beloved and only beloved. But that bhav, that feeling needs to be brought to us. And it can be brought to us through these Leelas, which are known as the personal Leelas and the Asambhav Leelas. So you and I are not to practice those Leelas. Let us not start to think that I am the Gopi and I am Yashoda Maiya and I am the Sakha, I am Shridama or Mansukha. No, 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 you are nothing, we are nothing. We are not even the speck of foot dust of these great Rasiks. These Leelas are there for us to meditate upon, to do sadhana, to do manan, to get our minds attached to, so that we can get attached with love to our divine beloved Sri Krishna. So it is the Lok Shiksha Leela that you and I, we need to adapt. We are eligible to adapt. And these Lok Shiksha means the lessons, the teachings. And more so, just to briefly tell you all that there is the Leela which is done by the Supreme Almighty Godhead Personality for Yoga Rood devotees. These are the devotees who have already attained the grace. The Yoga Rood Gopis in Braj. So these are the Braj Leelas, which is also Maryada Teet Leela. Maryada Teet Leela means beyond the worldly morals. So it will make no sense to us. If you start to apply your intellect, you will not only get confused, but will get brushed, totally destroyed. Brahma could not understand. He tried to understand. He tried to apply his intellect. The creator Brahma, when God descends on this earth, he does lots of leelas of many kinds, as I said, which comes under the three main categories. And in that, the Asambhav Leela, the impossible Leela, or even the personal Leela, if one starts to apply the mind to understand, then one will get totally ruined, confused. Brahma, when he saw Sri Krishna doing such leelas. And what to talk of Brahma, the creator, Bhagavati, Adi Shakti, Adi Ambe Shakti, the divine mother, Sati, took test of Bhagavan Ram when she saw Bhagavan Ram's leela. Huh? तो राम देखी सुनी चरित तुम्हारी जड़ मोहा ही बुध हो ही सुखारी. Just to teach us the lesson, Mata Parvati ji here is doing this leela as well, to teach us the lesson, never ever apply your intellects. So these two leelas, the Antarang Leela and the Asambhav Leela, are simply to be meditated upon. Do manan on it. And the Lok Shiksha Leela is to be adapted. We need to learn the lessons, and then we need to do what is instructed to us, taught to us through those divine Leelas of the Lord. Out of all the various Leelas that Godhead Personality Shri Krishna has done on this earth, sweetest of the Leelas, the most benevolent Leela, the topmost, the main one, is the most benevolent Leela, which is Bala Leela of Krishna, the childhood Leela. Because here, the Supreme Almighty Godhead Personality, who is Satchid Ananda Brahma, he becomes like an ignorant, innocent, worldly child. Ignorant, innocent, worldly child. And through these Bal Leelas, he teaches a lot to us. So, the Yoga Rudh devotees, for them there is Maryada Tita Leela, which is beyond the worldly morals. But then for Yoga Rukshu, those who are practicing devotion to attain the divine love, divine grace of God, for the welfare and benefit of such devotees, the Lord has done Maryada Leela in Dwarika. Maryada, the one which is formal Leela, not informal. Maryada Tit is informal in Braj, but in Dwarika it is formal Leela, formal. It has got morals and principles, worldly morals and principles. And for you and I, we can learn lots of lessons from it. So the Bal Leela of Godhead Personality teaches us a lot of lessons. That is why it is of great benefit to us as well. And it is the most benevolent Leela. It shows the mercy of God. He is the ocean of mercy, costlessly merciful Lord as he is. He is ocean of mercy. His compassion, he is so compassionate, is shown through the Lord's, Supreme Lord Krishna's childhood Leelas. So there is such a Leela that we are going to talk about today. What is that Leela? Let us sing, and then let us find out, and then let me talk to you about this Leela. Radhe Radhe Govind Govind Radhe 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 Govind Govind Radhe 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 Govind Govind बार लाला के गोविंद राधे करवट बदलने का पर्व था बता दे उसी दिन लाला का गोविंद राधे अभिषेक भी होना था बता दे और उसी दिन लाला का गोविंद राधे जन्म का उत्सव भी था बता दे राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 गोविंद गोविंद राधे. So this Leela took place when Sri Krishna was 81 days old, roughly 2 months, 3 weeks. And he's still a baby. This is Bal Krishna Leela. It was a great day and a big ceremony was also organized by Maiya Yashodananda Baba, because it was Sri Krishna's turning over or rolling over ceremony. You know, when the baby is born, the baby simply sleeps in one position. What is lying on the bed? In the cot? What side? The back. And the front is facing up. And that's the way the baby keeps on sleeping. I had to ask some mothers, because I have no experience, what this rolling over thing is. So the mothers told me that there is a rolling over ceremony. Wow. So it is this turning over. The child tries to turn. As the child starts to grow day by day, wants to move because sees everybody moving. But the child can't do anything. He can't even turn. So then finally and ultimately the day comes when that little baby can turn. So little baby Krishna today turned. He rolled over. Now he can lie on his stomach. Oh, great. It's a big achievement. So there was a big ceremonial festival occasion going on. And the same day, baby Krishna was supposed to be given this auspicious bath, which is known as Abhishek, which we did in the morning here, where you pour the water and you bath, give a bath, with mantras going on. This Abhishek is actually done when the Vedic mantras are being recited by the Brahmins and the priests. So this was also the occasion. And a lot of also celebrations connected to Sri Krishna's birth. His time was coming near also to celebrate his first year. He was 81 days, but still, there are lots of other occasions which come in between. Before the Janmashtami, the first birth celebration or appearance celebration would take place. So there was lots of things happening, and the house, Yashoda Maiya's house, was full of, overcrowded with all the Brajvasis. And all the gopis were there as well, in big numbers. And there was lots of noise because of the singing and the dancing and the merrymaking. It is such a big day. It is the rolling over, the turning over occasion, ceremony of Sri Krishna, and it is Abhishek of Sri Krishna. And also there are lots of other occasions related to his ceremony going on, related to Sri Krishna's appearance. So बहुत शोरगुल हो रहा था, नाच गाना सब हो रहा था. And Maya Yashoda, she gave the Abhishek, the auspicious bath, to baby Krishna, while the Brahmins, huge number of Brahmins were invited and they recited the Vedic mantras. And once the Abhishekam was done, then Maya Yashoda hugged and kissed affectionately. She cuddled her baby, and all the gopis also, they were so delighted, they were so thrilled, they were so much in ecstatic joy at that moment, seeing baby Krishna having his Abhishek done, and then the mantras were going on, and now Maya is holding Krishna, baby Krishna, very close to her heart, her chest, and cuddling and kissing the baby. She can see Sri Krishna is tired. He's only a little baby, 81 days old. So of course, it's a little bit too much for him. It's a long bath, this long auspicious bath with all those long mantras. So of course, there was so much sleep in Krishna's eyes. He was tired and he was dozing off, and Maya was patting Krishna and hugging and kissing Krishna, and Krishna, of course, with that love of the mother and the love of everyone else, all the Braj gopis, etc. Of course, filled with all this love, he is in the nasha of love himself. He is bliss himself, but now it is the devotee's love which actually is what the Lord is all about. And Sri Krishna falls asleep. Maya Yashoda quietly and very slowly, making sure that Sri Krishna does not open the eyes, puts Krishna, lays down Krishna under a cart. It's not a horse cart, it's not bullock, it's a hand-driven cart. It's a big cart, but it's hand-driven cart. So under the cart, Maya Yashoda had made a beautiful bed of flowers, rose petals and other very sweet scented fragrant flower petals, cushioned it so thick, made a bed of flowers, and that's where Sri Krishna was laid down. And now Maya sees Krishna sleeping, so she went to do all the rest of the work. She had lots of things to do. And the Brahmins were there. She gave alms and gifts and charities to the Brahmins in abundance. All the cows that were gifted in charity, the horns were studded with gold, and the calves were studded with silver, and they were laden with gold necklaces. So cows, grains, clothes, and lots of other things. Whoever wanted, whatever wished for anything, Maya Yashoda today was going to lutao, you know, loot. Yeah, she was just going to give freely. So everybody was so filled, thrilled with joy. And the Brahmins were so happy. So Maya Yashoda honored them, paid respect to them, gave gifts to them, started doing other things. And Kanhaiya, when he was laid down under the cart, just in a short while, he woke up. And what did he do? He was hungry. All this time the Abhishek was going on, and then he started dozing off, and then he didn't drink milk too much. Maya tried to feed him, but he didn't, because he dozed off to sleep. So now, all of a sudden he gets up, he wakes up, and he starts to scream and cry. He's crying. But Maya could not hear Krishna's cry because of the loud music and the loud playing of the instruments and dancing going on. Thus, Krishna's cry became louder and louder and louder. A hungry man is an angry man. Well, he's not a man, but he's God, but he's doing all leelas like common people, remember? Like ignorant, innocent, worldly child. So now his cry is becoming louder and louder, and he started tossing his tiny, tiny little legs and his most tender, soft, beautiful, reddish, pinkish feet, the sole of the feet, so soft. You can see it when he's tossing up. See it in your root dhyan. And as he's tossing and his feet and legs and crying, his tiny lotus feet touches the cart. And as soon as it touches the cart falls upside down. It collapses. And this is a very little bit of Aishwarya here, but nobody will know about it. There were some cowhead boys, little kids, who were playing where Krishna was. So they saw it, but they're little kids. But they did see it. And they were not as young as Krishna, they were older than Krishna, so they could understand a little bit more. Anyway, the cart falls upside down, and the parts of the cart got shattered and destroyed. The cart was destroyed. And Krishna is lying there, crying and still tossing his legs, throwing it up. So naturally with the sound, with the big noise of the cart falling upside down, and the wheel now is also disconnected to the axle, so everything is fallen, all the parts have fallen apart. So the cowhead boys, the man, the cowhead man, the cowhead ladies, all the gopis, all the gwalas, Maya Yashoda, they all came running. And when they saw this, they were astounded. They were shocked. They were all drowning in shock. How could this happen? And the little boys who were playing there, they said, this is Krishna's doing. I mean, they never said Krishna. They always said Kanha, Kanhaiya. So Kanha's doing. And of course, the older cowhead man, they didn't believe it. Taking it to be, assuming it to be just the kids, talk. Only children's talk. So of course, the little 81-day-old, how could he do it? So of course they didn't believe it. But the kids, those little cowhead boys, they were saying, no, it's Krishna's doing. So in the meantime, what happens is Maya Yashoda picks up Krishna, who is still crying, her baby, and she starts to again affectionately cuddle and kiss Krishna and prays to God, oh God, thank you so much. And then she's thinking, oh God, it could be some planetary mischief, some spirit, something bad. What has happened? Inside the cart was a demon. And the demon was seated in the cart, but in a formless form. He had no form. This demon, who was sitting in the cart without any form, is the one whom Sri Krishna is actually going to liberate today. So let us sing and find out. Radhe Radhe Govind Govind Radhe 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 Govind Govind Radhe Radhe Govind Govind Radhe 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 Govind Govind Radhe Shishu Shri Krishna Ek Govind Radhe छकड़े के नीचे थे सोए बता दे लाला के लाल लाल गोविंद राधे नन्हे कोमल चरण थे बता दे पाँव उछालने थे गोविंद राधे छू गया पाँव छकड़े ते बता दे पाँव के छूते ही गोविंद राधे बड़ा छकड़ा गया उलट बता दे छकड़े का प्रतिभाग गोविंद राधे छिन्न भिन्न अरुवस्त हो गया बता दे ओ छकड़े में बैठा था गोविंद राधे शकटा सुर बलशाली बता दे शकटा सुर बलशाली बता दे ओ राधे राधे गोविंद गोविंद राधे 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 गोविंद गोविंद राधे. So who was sitting in this chakra? Chakra is the cart, the hand-driven cart. Shaktasur, the demon with no body, a formless demon. His name is Shaktasur. The story about Shaktasur is very interesting. What is it? Well, you've heard of Hiranyaksh, Hiranyakashipu's brother Hiranyaksh. Hiranyakashipu, father of Prahlad. Hiranyaksh, he is the brother and the uncle of Prahlad, and the brother of Hiranyakashipu, for whom the Supreme Almighty Godhead Personality took the boa descension. So this Hiranyaksh had a son, the demon, Hiranyaksh had a demon son, whose name was Utkach. And Utkach was so strong built, like a heavyweight champion. He was so strong built, he was so fat, and he was so powerful. So one day, wandering and walking around and walking and walking and walking, he enters into the hermitage, the ashram area of Maharishi Lomash, of Lomash Muni. And there, as he enters the ashram area, he started crushing down all the trees. The beautiful trees which were surrounding the ashram, he crushed it with his body. In order to punish him, Lomash Rishi cursed him. In fact, Munis and Rishis never curse. We earn the curse ourselves. So Shaktasur, who is Hiranyaksh's son, Utkach, with his evil doing, wrongdoing, he has already earned a curse. So only to explain to you all, I'm going to say that he cursed, but in order to punish, there is a curse coming on him, which actually Utkach himself has earned for himself with his bad wrongdoings, by crushing the trees for no reason. So Lomash Rishi said to him that you have great pride over your body, huh? So now you are going to be debodied. You are going to become Nirakar, de-embodied. So there is no body, formless. Then Shatkasur, rather Utkach, realizes what he did, and he got so terrified when he was cursed to get into this formless form. Then he fell at the lotus feet of Lomash Muni and started crying his heart out. He begged and begged and begged for forgiveness. Well, the greatest of the saints and sages, their heart is full of mercy. Their every action again is only kripa, grace, just as God is all merciful, so are the God-realized sages. So Lomash Rishi's heart melted, and he said, okay, you'll remain in this form, disembodied, until your body is touched, your formless form is touched by the lotus feet of the Supreme Almighty God, Shri Krishna. So today, Shri Krishna, when he was tossing his legs, his feet touched the chakra, that card, in which Shaktasur was seated, and it touched Shaktasur. So this is how Lord Krishna, when his divine lotus feet touched the formless Utkach, who is in the demon form at the moment known as Shaktasur, then Shaktasur got liberated. That was the end. So I'm not going to say killed, basically killed and liberated, you can say. So this LEELA is here to teach us a lesson that what our pride and ego does to us. With that pride, he became so blind. Shrimad vakrana kina kehi prabhuta badhirana kahi. Shri ka mad, the pride of wealth, makes us so crooked, that we don't care heck about anyone, anything. And Prabhuta fame, the pride and ego of fame, makes us completely deaf. We don't hear anyone, anything. So here, through this Bal Krishna Leela, we are taught the lesson that please, for your own sakes, never ever let this ego or pride swell in you. We all have it. We have to work hard towards getting rid of it rather than getting swollen in pride. That is why it is said, Sadh kahavat kathina hai, jaise ped khajur. Sadhana avastha is so difficult. Practicing devotion, this state where we are, it's very, very difficult. Because if we rise in our devotional practice, then of course we are going to rise like the date palm tree. Very high we'll go. But साध कहावत कठिन है जैसे पेड़ खजूर चढ़े तो चाखे प्रेम रस लेकिन गिरे तो चकनाचूर. Pride comes before the fall of man. If you reach it with a humble heart, then great, you'll enjoy the bliss. But or else, this pride, if you don't check it, it's gonna destroy us completely. And likewise, there is another example, Trina Bharat. He was the king of Pandu county, and he was sporting with his queens by the banks of river Narmada. And Durvasa Rishi happens to just come by out of blue. And this king, when he was sporting with his queens by the banks of river Narmada, saw the Rishi, saw the sadhu, saw the tapasvi, but ignored. How many of us do this? Think about it. Ignored, did not pranam, did not pay any respect, just ignored. Kept on having his sporting good time. And Maharishi Durvasa, in order to teach the lesson to the world again, he, to punish him and to teach the lesson, cursed that king of Pandu county. Sahasraksh was his name. To become a demon on earth. So he became the tornado, the whirlwind, which took Krishna up, baby Krishna. And which day was this one? This was the Janmashtami day. This was the day when the celebration was going on for his first appearance day, the first birthday, what we call it. That was the day when Shri Krishna was 1 year old. So he is flown by this demon who is in the whirlwind in a tornado form. But Shri Krishna became so heavy that the demon started thinking, oh God, I can't carry him. He is more heavier than a mountain. So he could not go anywhere. Shri Krishna held onto his neck. He was hanging around his neck and he held it so strong that he took the life out of this demon, Trina Bharat. And the demon, when he was killed, he was of course liberated, because when Durvasa Rishi cursed him, then he also fell at the feet of Durvasa Muni, cried and cried his heart out and asked for forgiveness. Then Maharishi Durvasa said, okay, when Shri Krishna's body will touch you, when Shri Krishna's divine body will touch you, when you'll get the touch of his body, then you'll be liberated. So today he was liberated, but when he died, he fell in the courtyard of Maya Yashoda, where baby Krishna is holding on to him. So this teaches us a lesson as to what our ego, what our pride can do to us, what our bad actions do to us. So always look at not only the actions that you are performing, but what the results will you get of the thoughts. Your thoughts are also acts, and more so your actions when you perform, when we perform. Be very careful, extremely careful. So this Bal Krishna Leela, I was thinking that I'll today finish 2 Leelas at least, but tomorrow I'm going to go fast. Tomorrow is not my day, sorry, I'm so sorry. So this is about Sri Krishna's Bal Krishna Leela. Now there is the Sakhya Leela, then there is the Vatsalya Leela. See, Sri Krishna, he does his Bal Leela and all these Leelas of his childhood days. It happens in Braj Dham village, in the Braj Dham village. And then the Sakhya Leela, that companionship Leela, that friend Leela, the Sakha Leela, it happens in Braj Dham in village as well as in forest. And then there is the Madhurya Leela, which happens, the Vatsalya Leela is all with the Bal Leela. So Vatsalya Mayashadas, it's all in Braj Dham village. And then the Sakhya village as well as forest. And the Madhurya Leela in village, forest as well as in the Kunj. So we will talk about all these Leelas, but today I think time is up. I didn't ask how many hours I was going to speak, but I guess it's 1 hour. Boliye Shrimad Sadguru Sarkar ki jai. Boliye Ladli Lal ki jai. Boliye hamare Bal Krishna ki jai. असुर संहार वाले की जगद्गुरुत्तम स्वामी श्री कृपालुजी महाप्रभु की जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे.
रसो यह परमानंद एक द्विधा श्री राधा कृष्ण रूपाभ्याम् तस्यै तस्मै नमो यद्यपि श्री राधा कृष्ण एक ही हैं, किंतु श्री राधा कृपा शक्ति स्वरूप भक्ति योग रसावतार परम प्रिय गुरुवर जगद्गुरु श्री कृपालुजी महाराज ने जीवन पर्यंत श्री राधा गुणगान का ही उपदेश दिया। श्री राधा तत्व को चारों वेदों का सार अद्वितीय तत्व प्रतिष्ठापित करते हुए श्री कृष्ण को उनका ही अपर अभिन्न स्वरूप बताया है।
कृष्ण मेन मवेहित्वम आत्मान अखिलात्मनाम। भागवत। समस्त आत्माओं की आत्मा श्री कृष्ण, उनको परमात्मा कहते हैं। तो जैसे इस देह की आत्मा जीवात्मा और देह सर्वेंट, ऐसे जीवात्मा की आत्मा परमात्मा श्री कृष्ण और जीवात्मा उनका सर्वेंट दास। ऐसे ही परमात्मा की आत्मा राधा और परमात्मा श्री कृष्ण उनके दास। आत्मा तुराधिका तस्य, परमात्मा श्री कृष्ण की आत्मा है राधा।
दोनों परस्पर सेवक सेव्य एवं प्रेमी प्रेमास्पद हैं, किंतु श्री राधा श्री कृष्ण की आत्मा है। अतः अनंत ब्रह्मांड नायक श्री कृष्ण सदैव उनके दास बने रहते हैं और निरंतर उनके सुमधुर नाम का जप करते रहते हैं।
राधे 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 राधे।
इसी सिद्धांत को प्रतिपादित करते हुए आचार्य श्री ने अनेक उपाय अपनाकर जन जन से चलते फिरते, खाते पीते, सोते जागते श्री राधा नाम रटवाकर इसे विश्वव्यापी बनाकर विश्व का महान उपकार किया है। ऐसे परम कृपालु गुरुवर की सदा ही जय हो। प्रेम रस से ओतप्रोत उनके द्वारा रचित ब्रज रसिकों की परम निधि 1008 पदों के रूप में रचित ग्रंथ प्रेम रस मदिरा का एक पद प्रस्तुत किया जा रहा है, जिसमें आचार्य श्री ने श्री राधा नाम महिमा का गुणगान करते हुए निरंतर राधे नाम रटने का दिव्य संदेश दिया है।
और राधा नाम का महत्व है ऐसा कि विष्णुश्चक्रधरः प्रयाति पुरता। चक्र धारण करने वाले विष्णु राधा नाम लेने वाले के आगे आगे चलते हैं, आगे आगे। विष्णुश्चक्रधरः प्रयाति पुरता शूली शिव पृष्ठता। और पीछे पीछे भगवान शंकर त्रिशूल लेकर चलते हैं। विष्णुश्चक्रधरः प्रयाति पुरता शूली शिव पृष्ठता। और बाएं तरफ पामे पाशधरः प्रयाति वरुणो। और वरुण अपने नागपाश को लेकर बाएं तरफ से चलते हैं। और वज्री हरिर दक्षिणे, और इंद्र अपना वज्र लेकर के दाहिने तरफ चलता है। तो स्वच्छंदम ब्रजतो जनस्य गृणको राधेति नामाक्षरम नृत्यन्त्यप्सरसः प्रसून निचयान वर्षन्ति देव्यो मुदा। जो आनंद में निमग्न होकर किशोरी जी का ध्यान करते हुए राधे नाम लेकर चलता है, वो कुछ सोचे ना अपने लिए, ये सब रक्षा करेंगे उसकी चारों ओर से। इतनी महत्ता है राधे नाम में।
छिन छिन राधे नाम रटोरे मन। छिन छिन राधे नाम रटोरे मन। छिन छिन ब्रह्मादिक की कौन बात रे। 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 रटत ब्रह्म घनश्याम रटोरे मन। 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 छिन छिन राधे नाम रटोरे मन। छिन छिन राधे नाम रटोरे मन। जेहि रति महारास रस पायो। जेहि रति महारास
नाम रटोरे मन।
मिलो कृपालु रतन
जितना भी ज्ञान है वेद से लेकर रामायण तक का, उन सब ज्ञानों का परिणाम है संकीर्तन, ये जो आप लोग कर रहे हैं। भगवान का नाम, भगवान का गुण, भगवान की लीला आदि का गान करना। भगवान का नाम का मतलब पहले भगवान को मन से सामने खड़ा करो, फिर नाम लो, अर्थात रूप ध्यान पूर्वक ही भगवान का नाम लो, भगवान के नाम का जप करो, पूजा करो, पाठ करो, कुछ करो, लेकिन नंबर 1 भगवान का रूप ध्यान। इस प्रकार राधा रानी की उपासना श्री कृष्ण के साथ, गुरु के साथ करते हुए हम निष्काम भावना को साथ रखें, अनन्यता को साथ रखें। ये 2 शर्तें बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हैं, निष्कामता, अनन्यता। इसके बिना काम नहीं चलेगा। ये भगवान की शर्त है। तो इस दोनों शर्तों के साथ उपासना करने पर जो जो हम भगवान के, राधा रानी के पाने की, दर्शन की परम व्याकुलता बढ़ाएंगे, त्यों त्यों उस विरहाग्नि में ये अंतःकरण निर्मल होगा। तब गुरु कृपा से स्वरूप शक्ति द्वारा उसको दिव्य बनाया जाएगा। बस काम समाप्त। अब माया भी गई और आनंद भी मिला और भगवान भी मिले, उनकी सेवा भी मिली। जो जो हमारा लक्ष्य था सब हल हो जाएगा।
राधे राधे बोल नित करू राधे को ध्यान। राधे राधे आई है निज गोलोक तजे हाजत श्याम सुजान। राधे राधे
बोलिए राधा